Hello, and welcome to Apple Consulting's Central Reach Learn Training Platform. Today we're going to learn how to develop treatment plans in the program notebook for each individual student. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on the narrative data. So the narrative information. So you're going to go ahead and go into your client's program notebook, and you're going to click on the left column, Client Treatment Plan Narrative through Assessment. When you click on that, you'll see a couple of different areas, and it's very easy to put information in. So this is very much like your paper treatment plan. It has the different areas where you're supposed to add information in. And so if I click on Identifying Information, then what you're going to want to do is move over to the right and click on the Edit Pencil. And here you can type in the information about the client yourself, or you can copy and paste it from your actual treatment plan. And this can be done for each of the different areas, areas of need, history of present illness. The same thing, you click on it, go to the right, click on the Edit Pencil, and then type in your information. And you can also bold and make those changes as well if you're copying and pasting from your old treatment plan. So that is how you add in the information regarding the narrative. So again, you would go into histories or something similar to that, click on the Edit Pencil to the right, and then write in your actual information, or you can copy and paste it from your paper treatment plan. Now what I'm going to show you is how to actually make a treatment plan with the data. And remember that only treatment plans that have data for 6 months can be used according to this method. If you don't have 6 months of data in your Learn book, then you'll have to do a paper treatment plan. So what you're going to do next to start a treatment plan with data is you're going to go to the client contact level. So I'm going to go to Clients, and I'm going to pick John Doe, Joe Doe. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find something called Notes and Forms, and it's usually a widget on your dashboard. And I see it here at the bottom. If you need help with widgets, please ask administration or someone else who can help you. But most of the time there'll be something on the right up here in which you can add widgets to and from the dashboard. But since I have all the widgets available, it doesn't give me that option. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to Notes and Forms, and there's going to be a plus button, and you click on the plus button, and then it's going to give you an option to add new. So I'm going to add a new treatment plan, and depending on which treatment plan you have, there are different treatment plan templates. Which one you're going to choose is a treatment plan template general. That's the one that's going to be used most of the time. If you have a Kaiser treatment plan, that's something that we'll go over in another video. It is very similar, but it just requires different domains and different information in there. So we're going to click on Treatment Plan Template General, and then you choose a provider, and the provider would be yourself. So I'm going to click Allison, and then whatever payer it is, and this should be, let's pretend that it's Premera, because if it were Group Health or Kaiser, we would be using a different template. So then you'll find a bunch of sections here. So what needs to happen now is you need to input your narrative information into your treatment plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the header information, and then you're going to want to click on the specific dates for your treatment plan, and I'm just going to make up some dates here. Add in whatever information you need to add in. If this is an initial treatment plan, if this is a reassessment, assessment date, all those different things. They're just like using a chart note that you can just type in the text box the information. So technician information, direct intervention, 15 hours a week or however you want to do it. Then you're going to move to another section. So you can click next. And then you'll see that you have the information that you had in your program notebook. Identifying information was a title. Areas of need, history, present illness was a title. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to go and you're going to select the information from the learn goal. It sounds funny that it's a learn goal, but it's actually the narrative that can be pulled from it. So under identifying information, I want to find the identifying information, quote unquote, goal. So I click select learn goal, and you see that there's a bunch of different things here, and it's kind of hard to find. Identifying information is at the bottom, but you can also sort by tree index order, and that will give you the information in the order that you see it in the program notebook. So I'm going to click on identifying information. And then you're going to want to make sure that you have the date ranges that you want it for, which generally for narratives, it doesn't matter. And then I click on it, and then you'll see that it populates. So again, I'm going to do areas of need, history of present illness next. And I already have it in my program notebook. So all I have to do is pull it from the goal, the learn goal, and I'm going to put it in tree index order so it's easier to find. Areas of need, history of present illness, boom, it's in there. And we'll do this one more time. Now I've got to move down because we have a lot of information in there. Histories. Okay, I'm going to click on the learn goal. I'm going to sort by tree index order, and I'm going to find histories and put it in there. So next we're going to move on into how to enter actual data. First, we're going to start with the 6-month update, the past data. So I'm going to choose a section here, or if I'm in a different section, I can just click next until I get to 6-month update, or go back to change section and find 6-month update. And look, you'll see here again that you'll need to add in the dates from your previous treatment plan. So that usually is 6 months before. Just do that to today's date. And then you're going to want to click on Select Goals for Progress Report. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pay attention to a couple of things. First, it's always easier to sort by the tree index order so you see all the information as if you would in the program notebook. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select all of the goals that you want to have in the progress report. And most of the time, 99% of the time, you're going to want all of the goals. So if I were to click on behavior, I were to be able to see that all these goals are here. They have the program and all the sets. If there's only specific sets that you want to choose, you can click on those specific sets. But let's just say, for simplicity's sake, that we want everything in there. We want all the goals, all the sets to be populated. So all I simply need to do is click on behavior, social communication, all the different domains, and everything will be clicked under that. So everything will be included. And then you click continue. Okay. And the thing that I forgot to tell you actually is that you'll see that there are no data in here. There's a reason for that, because we didn't select the correct date. So if you make a mistake, which happens quite a bit, and you want to change the dates, because it actually pays attention to the dates that you pull in your data, then you're going to want to go back into Select Goals for Progress Report. And then what you're going to want to do is go back to sort by tree index order. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that your dates are correct. So your data point range up here should be, since I've only done work with John Doe last year, and I can only pull in those data, I know that I can go back into, let's say, June of last year, or whenever your date is, so it'll be your 6 months review. But for example purposes, I'm just going to put in some other data. And so that you'll see that it will pull in, if you select all of these data points up here, it'll populate under all of the individual goals here. So what I'm going to do again, since I made the mistake about the data range, I'm going to click on all of the domains, and I'm going to click continue. And then it replaces the information. So then you'll see that there's actual data. And the way that the treatment plan works is it goes by, it's printed out by domain. You see the domain behavior. And here's a graph right here of the number of programs that are mastered. So it's 10 programs out of 55 available programs. And so you'll be able to see that, and it'll give those data. Then you get to take a look at program name, the actual program flexibility, and it gives the actual information about the program. So the description says when it was initiated, says how many sets, and then you can add in any notes that you want to about that particular program. Where you're going to find the data are in the actual sets. So oftentimes what we did for this one is we added all the sets in here. What happened was it included the baseline, the set description, and the progress. So they were at 20 on maintenance. So if you want to, you can have, like we did, we can have all the sets in here and all of the data for each set. So you can see again, we have domain social communication. We have the specifics about each program, how many programs have been mastered out of how many programs. And that's at the program level. And then program name, description, how many sets, set 1 out of 11 sets, how many, for all the sets that are in progress are the ones that are going to be automatically posted on here. And the way that we did it was we included all of the sets. Now we're going to go through how to set up the current treatment goals. So from Choose a Section, you would just click on Choose Treatment Goals. If you were in a previous section or a subsequent section, you can always just move around until you get to the appropriate area. And then you're going to select Goals for Progress Report. And before you can actually see the dates that you want to choose, you have to click Tree Index Order and then click on something. And then again, you choose the 6 months for your client treatment plan that has been just completed. And for our purposes, for a sample, again, I just have to go through June and July of 2018, where our sample data are. But you would choose the 6 months. And then what you're going to do is you're going to actually click on each of the domains because you don't want everything here. What you want is the current set. So what you're going to do is you're going to click off flexibility and then go ahead and click on where you see it in blue where it says progress, and that's the one you're going to want. And then the same thing with all of them. You're going to click on the current set for which you have the client working on. So just the ones that have the P, you go to the bottom, you do that for all of the sets. And then what's going to happen is it will populate. So if I press the plus button, it's taking a little while, and I just go, oh, it's in progress here. That's the data that I want. Looks like there are a couple of ones in progress, so you want to pull all the ones that are in progress. And then just for a sample, we'll show you for a couple of them what that looks like. So it shows the domain, and you notice here that it doesn't have any data. And so it gives a description of the program. It gives the date initiated, the status, the 5 out of 10 sets. Then you're going to see the treatment approaches to be used, and there will be at least 2 areas for you to choose from a drop-down list of the treatment approaches that you will be using. So for example, if I were to touch here and choose one of these, I have discrete trial training, natural environment teaching, fluency-based instruction, errorless learning, chaining, shaping, contingency contracting, and stimulus manipulation as my choices for treatment approaches to be used. So I'm going to choose discrete trial training. You always want to choose at least 2 if that applies, and you go ahead and the same steps and continue. And if you have a option of treatment approaches to be used that is not included in the list, you can type it into the box. And I'm going to cancel out of there. And next you'll see the area for this program for generalization strategies. And the same concept applies to generalization strategies. There are 2 drop-down lists. They contain the same information. So for generalization strategies, I would click on it. I choose one, and we have multiple SDs, multiple trainers, sufficient exemplars. It's basically the technologies of generalization. Train loosely, sequentially modify, train to generalize, indiscriminable contingencies, natural contingencies, mediate generalization, and program common stimuli. So you pick one of those, and you go ahead and you move forward with the next one as well. I'm just going to choose one. And again, it gives you the opportunity after you pick those 2 to pick something, to write something in yourself. And then you need to write in most of the time in your treatment plans now an estimated date for mastery. So it'll actually be a date drop down, and you can go in and add the date 6 months from now or whatever you think is appropriate for that particular student. And click continue. And then what you'll see, so you'll have to do that for all of the programs. So the programs will automatically have the program name, the description, the date initiated, the status, but the treatment approaches to be used, the generalization strategies, and the estimated date for mastery all need to be filled in by you. And then under the programs are the sets, and so you notice that since we only pick the ones that are in progress, they're only showing the current baseline for those particular sets that are in progress, because this is not a description of past data. This is where we are moving forward. So again, what I would do is I see here's the next program, flexibility with object placement. There's a program description, the date initiated, this is all auto-populated, status auto-populated, treatment approaches to be used, there's a drop-down list, and you pick from that drop-down list whatever it is that makes sense for your client and try to pick at least 2. And again, if that information is not in that drop-down, you can choose right here something specific that you're using as a treatment approach. Same thing with generalization strategies, drop-down list, choose one. Then also if you have the opportunity or the option to use something else, then you go ahead and put that into the other text box. Estimated date for mastery, usually around 6 months. You make that decision and you go ahead and input it here. And then you'll see again that we have the most current sets and the current baseline, which is auto-populated. And finally, you want to complete your treatment plan. So what you're going to do is you're going to click Next out of Current Treatment Goals. And you'll see that a lot of this is templated out for you. The treatment modality we keep the same, and that our names are put in the frequency of supervision area automatically, so we don't have to worry about that. Then we're going to go down to the bottom, see what you need to add in. And we're going to add in the discharge criteria, and remember that the discharge criteria needs to be individualized to the client and shouldn't just focus on age reference norms. It should be based on their specific goals. Once you've completed that, then you would move to the next screen, which is summary and program recommendations. And so you'll see here in italics, if it's an initial assessment, you would include this narrative. If it were a reassessment narrative, then you would include the narrative below. And so you have to remember that if this is a reassessment, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take out the initial assessment narrative by just deleting it, and then deleting anything in italics, because that's just directions. And then you've got your summary and program recommendations that you need. So you'd put in the number of hours here. And then there are two tables from which to choose the appropriate funding source. The first table has most of our funding sources, which are the 9-7 codes. And what you would do is you would click on this drop-down menu, and you would choose which funding source it is. And for this case, it was Kaiser. And you go ahead and pick that. The other options are first choice Medicaid, which includes Community Health Plan of Washington, Molina, etc., Regents, and UBH. If you have Premera Microsoft, Premera Regular, Premera Amazon, there is a one at the bottom that has the codes for Premera that are different. And you would add in the units for each of the areas for 6 months, per month, per week, etc. And it would be the units for the 6 months, per month, and per week. When you are finished filling out the funding source information, let's say we have Kaiser here, and I put in the information in the text boxes. What I want to do is make sure to delete the box that does not apply. So this Premera box, since we're using Kaiser, does not apply, and just delete it. And so now you have only your specific funding source. And then you're going to want to save, not save and lock. You're going to want to save, because if you lock it, you're not going to be able to come back to it. So you're going to want to save it. Then you're going to want to notify leadership that it's been completed. And after it's been completed and edited, you're going to want to come back in, and you go back to the client file. Go to the client's file. Let's say you're coming back in after it's been edited. You search for the client's name. So I'm going to search for John Doe. I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to search for the widget Notes and Forms. And that's down at the bottom. And then I'm going to open that particular treatment plan. And the last section that you have is called signatures. And so automatically for the person who's signing, it fills out their name, and you go ahead and sign it. So you type your name in, and you go ahead and sign. You don't want to lock it, again, because you need other people to sign. And then what you can do is you can have the parent sign when they're around. So you can say John Doe, they sign. And then you also want to make sure that the behavior technician signs as well. The client, if applicable, but you choose a contact to sign. And then you would put in the technician's name. So let's say it was Allison. And then you would go ahead and have them sign. Now, if you make sure that it's the person signing, they're going to have to go into their own account and be able to sign it. They can't sign it from your account. So if I were to type in someone else's name, like Christopher, let's try this again, Christopher Jones. So what it will do is it will allow him to go into his particular file and sign it himself. So they'll need to be able to be connected to that particular treatment plan. And then what you're going to do is when you're finished, you're going to have to locate the treatment plan in order to print it out. So what you would do is you would go to Files, and you would search for your client's name. In this case, it's John Doe. And I would click on that contact, and I would find the appropriate treatment plan. And here we have a bunch of examples of a May 13th treatment plan, but it is this one. And then you would click on it, and then you can download the file. There is another option for a treatment plan template from which to choose. When deciding on which program template to choose, it really depends on your funding source. The one that we showed you in prior lessons did not have all the graphs for the sets. The ones we're going to show you now actually have the graphs for the sets. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to choose a different template as we move into this client's file, and I move down to Notes and Forms widget. And I'm going to use the plus sign to create a note. And I'm going to add a new one. And then there are some different options here. We use the template, treatment plan template general, and that would provide you with the information that we had in the prior lessons. Now this treatment plan general all set graphs, that's the one that's going to produce all the graphs for you for all of the sets. So I'm going to click on this one. And it's the same process as before. Choose myself as provider and choose the payer. And then you'll see the sections are there. So we know how to put in history of present illness and all that other good stuff to pull that in from our learning trees. And the assessments completed for evaluation, we haven't really talked about that yet, but basically you are able to use the text area here to fill in information about functional assessment. So one of the things here about functional assessment analysis findings, this is something that is automatically templated and put in there. If it applies, great. If not, you can erase it and you can add in some text about the functional assessment. And then for behavior plan, there's a drop down and you can choose not applicable if it's not applicable, or you can put in the behavior plan in the rich text area below. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on where it's going to be different is here in the 6-month performance record of mastered skills. So remember our old template that we used, the general template, had all the data, but not necessarily the graphs. So in this one that we chose, we're actually going to have all the graphs from all the sets. So as before, you select Goals for Progress Report. And then once you get to the goals, you sort by tree index order. And then once you get to the goals, you're going to sort by tree index order, which makes it easier to navigate because it looks like your program notebook. And then what you're going to do is you're going to simply click on each of the domains because you're going to want all the graphs for each of the programs. You're going to select the date for which you want to have, usually the past 6 months, for which you want to have the data pulled, and you click Continue. It can take up to a few minutes for the data to load for all of the graphs, but when you're done, what you'll see is the following. You will have the domain graph, And then as we scroll down, what you'll see is that there are graphs for each one of the sets that are in progress. So you can see we have set 1 here, and that has all the graphs and the data. Set 2, and it's going to make for a very long treatment plan, but oftentimes what happens with funding sources is they want all of the information, and so that's how we give them all of the information. This section is a follow-up to our Learn Treatment Plan training to show you some specifics that were left out that need to be added in order to make this treatment plan smoothless and effective. One of the first things that we need to address is how to make a subject header for the treatment plan active. So you'll see to the left over here, we have the identifying information, and it is colored blue. The graph is colored blue, and areas of need, present illness is covered blue. In order for us to actually see and pull the information into the treatment plan when we go to the treatment plan is we need to make the program blue, or the subject matter blue or active. So the way that you do that to make it blue or active is you click on the goal or the subject matter, and you look for the bullseye, which is down at the very bottom right-hand side of the page. You click on it, you scroll down to status, and you'll see right here it says not active. What you're going to need to do is click in progress and update all, and then click save. So again, you're going to be doing this after you create all of the information in your treatment plan in the subject headers in order to actually pull it into your treatment plan from the Learn Notebook. You're going to need to make these headings active. So again, you look for the bullseye at the bottom right-hand corner of the page, scroll down, look for status. It should say in progress. So change it to in progress, update all, and save. Another piece to note is how to pull up treatment plans when you're working on them through Central Reach. What we have showed you how to do in the past is go to the dashboard, find the widget for notes and forms, and then the treatment plan is typically there for you to pull and open. Sometimes you've been working on it for a while and it may not be the most up-to-date form, or it might be a form from earlier, like it's treatment plan. Let's say I'm looking for a treatment plan I did in July of 2018. So you see that it's not here. So what I want to do is I want to, instead, the other way that you can look for the treatment plan is if it's been a while since you've updated it, you go to the client's profile, scroll down to notes and forms, and then I know I did something on July 17th in 2018, and that's the one I'm looking for because I don't see it here. It's too far back. And this may happen when you're trying to pull up treatment plans because there's a lot of direct care notes that go into the notes and forms section on a daily basis. So I'm going to type 17, and then I'm going to see if I can find the July 17th treatment plan, and there it is for me to open. So again, if you can't find the treatment plan in your notes and widgets dashboard, if it's not listed there, go to the profile, scroll down to notes and forms, and then you can search for it in the box right up here.